Hey everybody, this is my reflection and video game walkthrough. I did record something last night and I realized I didn't do the reflection part or really break down the technical part for you guys, so I wanted to do it really briefly. Well, not briefly, I wanted to do it again. So my take on the postmodern lemonade stand is I created a game called Blue Sky. As you can probably tell, it's based on the hit television series that changed television forever, Breaking Bad. So you have their protagonists, Mr. Pink and Mr. White, and they are selling their candy, Blue Sky. The thing with Mr. White and Mr. Pink is that they really love money and they know how to make this really great candy that no one else can make. But so they're always like getting into their mobile RV and deciding, where to sell, but they try to avoid the cops and they also don't like other competitors. Other competitors means bad news for them. Their other competitors are always trying to sell candy and compete with them. So when we enter a mission, we decide where they're gonna sell, where they're gonna drive out to basically, and for how long. And then we have like in location A, I was gonna program in high risk and high probability. Like there'd be a higher chance of the cops coming and taking away their product. Maybe they wouldn't make any money and they'd lose all the money they spent making this stuff. But I didn't get to code that in. But because also there's low competitors because of the high cops in this location, so they can charge more. So there would be the possibility of high gains, high risk and high gain. B would be a moderate location, and C would be a location where there'd be less cops for sure, but also higher competition. So you can't sell for as much in that location. So we'll pick C, and we'll say we're gonna go for 2 days. So when you go to the store for your first time on day 1, you'll have $25, your location that you're going to be going to, and what you have right now, you don't have anything. As you add items to your cart, the balance does increase, and it shows you how many items are in your cart. If you try to go to 0 items, that's not going to let you go any lower. And if you try to go above your balance, you won't be able to check out. You'll have to take something out before you can check out. I decided to use the buttons in that way. So we're ready. We've got $24 worth of stuff, and we use sugar, blue stuff, and chili powder to make Blue Sky. And when we get to the crafting scene, we have to figure out how many units of sugar, blue stuff, and chili powder do we want to use to make one batch, which equals 12 candies. And it was supposed to be programmed in that using certain ingredients like the chili powder would boost your sales a bit, but you're supposed to figure that out yourself through gameplay, but I did not have the time to program that. And as you can see, as I reach my max, like I don't have any more sugar besides I just have 1 unit of sugar. I can't add any more. These buttons disable. And you don't have to use it all. It'll remember your inventory. So there's that element to it, but we're gonna use it all, baby. We're gonna use it all right here. So let's cook it. We get to the simulation where if I had the time, it would have loaded scene 3, location C, and the probability would have been that they can't sell for too high, and all that would have been programmed in here. They can choose their sales price at the beginning of the day, anywhere between $1 and $100. And since we're in location C, we don't want to go. We'll pretend that I programmed it, and we won't go too high. We'll just go to like $40. If I had more time, I would have had them able to pick the hours through the day and adjust the slider, but I just have 1 round per day right now. I have a random function that is generating a number between 1 and 12 since I had 12 candies, and it shows me how many I sold and how many I had to throw away because you can't take it with you in this game. And the profits were the number sold times the slider value I chose, so $280. And then I was gonna maybe do something where they get penalized for this waste in some way. but we'll see that we're gonna make $280. It'll get added to our balance as we continue on to day 2 of 2. We're back in the store. We're buying more stuff. We got a lot more money this time, and as you can see, incrementing by just 1 is kind of not ideal if I had $1,000, if I had a really great day of sales. So I think in the future I would have made this an input field, and that these buttons would either add or subtract. That's what I would have done. So I'll check out now. Again, I'll just try. I could try and make it without chili powder. It would be fine. I could try to make it without sugar and without blue stuff and see what happens if I do more or less tweaking the recipe, if I had the time to program that in. But I didn't. So I'll just max it out because this is my last time. And there, $300. And then it stops playing the music when you're at the end. It has a happy ending in this game. Nobody dies. And so far, the way I have it coded, you're never at 0 so far. Unless you spend all your money and you never set the slider. But that would mean you weren't even really playing. So you probably wouldn't care that you had $0. I think I would have maybe considered programming it so you could have a negative amount, and you'd be in a lot of trouble in that case. And maybe a special scene would play if you were underneath 0, where you'd be very afraid. So I didn't have any time to put any of the art elements in here that I would have liked to put in. I had big plans at the beginning of this project. Envisioning it, I had a lot of thoughts about what I was going to do, but then I was limited by my own abilities. But I actually like this really. Like, I used the Piskel app that we learned about to make these little dudes, and I could have made them more elaborate, but this is just 2 frames each, and they're all just they're just playing, looping for Mr. Pink and Mr. White. And so I really valued like learning about resources like Piskel. I did look at other sites for the game art, but I thought, no, I have to do the coding first before I focus a lot on the artwork itself. So I didn't really get to go to that stage, but I did learn a lot. It was a lot of work. I tried to do things if I noticed, like I was always turning these header labels off and on, so I made a function where you could show them or not. This particular batch. Some of them didn't fit in, so they're not in this function. The audio stream player, I have it set up so that when they're in the setup scene and the setup scene only, it starts to play. And when they get down to the game over scene, it stops the playing. And I also made it so that they could cycle through like how many, at the setup scene they choose how many days and what locations they want to go to, and it stores these values. And if I had the time, I would have coded like, okay, location A into the simulation scene would load scene A basically into the body, if I had the time, but I did run out of the time for that. And one of the most valuable things I learned in this project was being able to go into a child node, a child node, and also access the nodes on that child, like loading a scene into the into my main. And that's code that we got from doing this assignment. And so that was valuable. But and I have a lot of these print statements everywhere to kind of like check like what I'm doing, is it working? And I actually ripped some out, but I left some in just so that Dr. Hoffman could see my thought process that was going into this. And I really would have liked to get to the probability part, but I just never made it that far. Same with the art. I don't know how I feel about this random integer generator that I found, this code that I found, because I know there's also a randomizer function I could have used, but I just decided to do the easier one because I was kind of short on time. And yeah, so I do my math like based on 12. I just figured a dozen candies. And yep, so that's my project, and I really enjoyed packaging it up and making it an installer and everything. And my boot screen doesn't show very long, but I made it, and it was fun. It was kind of painful, to be honest. I didn't have as much time just because my work got super crazy with COVID-19. So I had way more work time, working more than 8 hours a day every day and working on weekends. So this was challenging to do this assignment and everything else. And I learned that it was daunting and at times I was frustrated, but I learned that I kind of needed this challenge. I think if I'm not at that point where I would have thought of all of these, many of these elements on my own yet. But after going through this experience, I feel like now I have these standards and these little details that I know I would put into it, and I would want to have risk in the gameplay so that you could lose the game, and I see how that makes it a much better game. And I'm sorry I didn't have the chance to put all that in there, but I don't think I'll stop using Godot when this class is over. I think I want to try and keep like kind of messing with it, even if only to like make my little scenarios and have little things happen with sound effects and buttons and lots of animations. I think it would be really, it's been really fun so far, and um, I'm okay with the amount of work I did in the amount of time I had to do it, and I think if we had more time, I would have kept working and refining and making things better. But I think that's what programming is like. It's kind of like art, you know. You just you have a foundation and you just keep adding layers and layers and layers, making more intricate. And I don't know if you would consider this art, but I had a lot of fun with it, and it's very skeletal. But thanks for watching, and I appreciated it. Thank you.